or in the UK. So we have Mr. Intikab Zufer, who is the head of social media and Russian medical programs, who will be co-head starting the webinar. Also, to give you all a little bit of a notification, this is we will be focusing on one particular pathway today, in how on how you can exactly obtain your careers either in Australia and UK. If you have any questions to find out about the other pathways as well, please feel free to drop down your questions as well. Mr. Intikab Zufer, I'm heading it over to you.
Okay, hi. Thanks, Mandarika. I hope you guys can see me in a small screen. And I warmly welcome, first of all, Mr. Alan Roberts, the Managing Director from the Alan Roberts International Medical Graduate Support and Advisory Service, who is joining us. And we basically will hear a great deal of Australian related medical education can go through. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm recording this session and we'll kind of like upload this on the IMC YouTube platform, just in case if you would probably want to share it with a friend or maybe a relative of yours who can get some extra knowledge and information on becoming a doctor in an international system like England or in Australia. So what we're going to have is we're going to have Dr. Nishan, who is also a psychiatric consultant in the UK, who will be joining us. Now, I just might look off the screen because we still have students joining us. However, to be fair enough, we are going to start off now itself. My session is just going to be kind of like 20 minutes, just a pep talk of the basic things which medical doctors should know when we have Sri Lankan students who are basically trying to strive their career dream. So I warmly welcome everyone to this particular session. We have loads of stuff to actually talk with you, and I'm excited to have all of you guys who believe in yourself, that you are up for the challenge. You are up for the challenge to become a doctor, and that's why you've sacrificed about 2 hours of your time to invest on a Saturday morning to get some information on this. Now, first of all, I start off with one of my utmost favorite quotes from a guy who has 16 PhDs, a record holder who has 16 PhDs, the late Dr. Abdul Kalam, the space rocket scientist, Dr. Abdul Kalam, where he said, a dream is, okay, just hold on. Mandy, are you in?
Yes, Cynthia, I am.
Okay, Kavindya has sent a private message saying that she can't hear. If she is joining, she has to basically activate on the left-hand corner the speaker, which has to be activated. If you can kindly like send a personal message and follow up, because she has said she can't hear.
All right, okay.
Awesome. Kavindya, okay, that's the name, right? So Dr. Abdul Kalam says is that what is a dream? A dream is something which does not make you sleep. That is the exact thirst and hunger we need to see from students who want to become a doctor. I always tell my students that becoming a doctor is a very lucrative option. You are kind of going to have a lot of privileges in your life, but to achieve that in your life, there is a lot of hard work which you go through. It's just like how we build the case of a fast runner like Usain Bolt, who has won some amount of medals in just couple of 15 or 20 seconds. So what we see is that in 15 or 20 seconds, he won some medals, but his investment was 20 years or 15 years to actually come to that stage, right? So you are already doing yourself an investment during your O-levels, where you're interested in these sciences. You might have an investment during A-levels. You might have an investment during med school. Why are you going through all of this? Why the trauma to go through all of this? You are going through all of this to make sure that you have a lucrative career for the next 40 years. Now, to do that, there has to be a fire which burns within you, which we see in students. We see it. I'm sure Mr. Allen would have seen it. Amila would have seen it. When we talk to parents and students, they talk about how interested are they basically to go through something like this. So with this, we kick off this session to what we call to paint a picture of yourself. We are helping to paint your career. We are helping you to dream something for your career. We are the ladder to give you this access. So it's something called the doctor dream. All the students you see in this particular session are not models. They are not internet pictures. They are our very own students. I have with me a student from Visakha Vidyalaya, Ketmi Navodaya, who is a student studying in one of the prestigious state universities in Belarus called the Vitebsk State Medical University. She is a fourth year student, if I am not mistaken. She will qualify in the next 2 years as a successful doctor. These people all came and met us with a career plan. That career plan keeps on changing. That is what is bringing me to today's topic of why should I consider to go to Australia or the United Kingdom. See, let's talk about facts. Let's talk about how much of opportunities do you have actually to work as a medical doctor in Sri Lanka is getting quite remote little by little. It's getting out of hand little by little. It's getting quite challenging, quite hard. So I believe students need to have an alternative plan. That's what we always say, right, in our lives. The English alphabet has 26 letters. So why do you just rely on one plan? What's plan B? What's plan C? What's plan D, etc.? Why do you create these alternative plans so that you have something to rely on when something does not work? That's why we are going to train you guys with the medical license systems accepted in other countries. The medical licensing systems accepted in other countries, so that you will be well equipped for a successful doctor in 2030. So remember, this dream which we are looking at is a dream for 2030. Think that I'm writing on a whiteboard and my letters are not quite accurate because I'm writing like this. This is not a fun. We are not looking at your career in 2022. We are looking at your career in 2030s, where a doctor would be where a doctor would need to have probably extra clinical practices, where doctors will need to have a dual specialization, where doctors will need to have probably an experience in research, in biomedicine or in medical scientific research. How nice if your university can provide you all this. Okay, what about if you know to operate mobile apps or a computerized system as a doctor? So everyone out there in 2030 is a doctor. You're a person who knows some IT literacy more than others. You will be, of course, first time. Everyone else is a doctor. You have got through the AMC exams. Don't you think that that's a competitive advantage for you? Yes. I always tell my students who join me now to get their hands to learn something and watch videos on robotics, because I believe in 2030 to work with doctors in the future. This is what I prepare doctors for 2030. We are there with you guys. We are responsible for what we want to do with you guys, because we want you to be successful doctors and we want to be proud of ourselves who have actually helped you with this. As I said, I'm just having only 20 minutes, and let me quickly show you our career plan of what we have. So what I'll do is I will basically discuss about one particular system which you now see on the screen, which is called the MD system of the Eastern European pathway. This Eastern European pathway helps you actually to link it up with other medical systems like what Australia has. It helps to link it up. Now, when this link comes, what happens is, you guys will get an opportunity to kind of save money, study at a affordable destination, have some interesting quality of clinical exposure there. Okay, have some fun, travel around European Union, travel around about 15, 20 odd countries, and now you are fit to probably to transfer to Australia or to England. So this is basically what we have. So going ahead with this, we are looking at two possible ways. One, if a student has the possibility of going through an advanced level, if the student has a possibility of going through advanced level, and while the results would have been released, many would have got their results. Also, some people would be actually looking forward for a medical entrance program by saving money, saving cost, saving the stress of advanced level and things like that. So we present to you a pre-medicine program for that. Kind of a stepping stone to what we can help you out with, right? Let's say that you fall in short of some results. Okay, you still need to get into a medical school. Don't worry, that there are plenty of opportunities there. A pre-medicine program is quite old. Every university has that, from Harvard to Oxford to Cambridge to Yale University. All these people actually provide this. We are giving you the same option, the same help, where you can basically get into a pre-medicine option. I'm going to talk to you about an example of a student of mine, a person who did pre-medicine. This is Anish Tamidon, who is from Royal College. So some people think that, this is a course done by weak students. No, you're wrong. Even students who have grades do this program for extra exposure, for extra knowledge, for themselves to be motivated to study medicine, because A level is focused on an overall picture. My dear students, what can I do with A levels? I can do medicine, I can do dentistry, I can do biomedical science, I can do biomedical engineering. Can I get into law college by passing A level in the science stream? Yes. If you have 3 S's, you can start. You can enter law college, but you are qualified to do the law entrance exam. Can I do SIMA accountancy? You can do accountancy. Can you see that A level is overall? It's everywhere. It's not focused. It's everywhere. What happens in a pre-medicine program is that it is kind of shrinked, and we pick and choose what a student needs to study for medicine. We pick and choose what a student needs to study for medicine. And that's what basically brings us to our batch of students who are doing really, really well there. One of the first most batches of students who actually did this program have already painted their careers. I like to use the word painting their careers, because we like to paint things, and we use a brush, and we use different colors, and we look at a beautiful scenery. We like to paint beautiful things. We don't like to paint ugly things. We like to use colorful things. We like to be creative. This is the opportunity where we have given 19 students in the first batch to actually do this. All the 19 students you see here are not going to come back to Sri Lanka. All the 19 students are not going to come back to Sri Lanka. Some who you see in this picture would be medical doctors, nurses, they are basically painting their career. They are investing in their career. And this is what I said, that studying medicine needs a lot of homework and research for you to do. Okay, if you look at this picture, I will tell you definitely one trend in the future. When you look at this picture, that there will be more female doctors coming up in their career, more working doctors, more women who are going into work than even male doctors. You can see it obviously. So I told you that in future, a doctor needs to have an extra licensing exam. I told you that a doctor needs to have an extra skill, maybe a language skill. If you go to Belarus, you will be allowed to speak Russian language. Okay, and Russian language is one of the languages encouraged in the United Nations program. There are 6 languages in the world which they recognize. Russian is one of the languages there. What else? If you know robotics or if you know IT, you will be a better doctor than others. These people have invested in their career like that, and this is where this particular university, after they have actually done the pre-medicine program, what happens is they have an opportunity to actually study in a world class state university. And you can see all of us, myself, Amila, we took this picture in the corridor, the same students. We see a maturity in the students. the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they think, the way they behave with themselves is quite different. Okay, and if you look at what they will get exposed to, you know, like human cadavers, okay, and things like that, which we cover in the pre-medicine, helps them actually to become better doctors than those who are coming with advanced level. Does the advanced level class do this with you? No, but our pre-medicine class, it has a skills development class which actually will kind of cover some of the areas in this. Our purpose is to motivate you. Our purpose is to make you better than others. Our purpose is to make your qualification quite competitive, right? I've got 10 minutes more. Let's quickly squeeze in, or probably 5 minutes more, and I'll be heading this over to system which takes you through time. This is if you come through London A levels. This is if you come through pre-medicine. Okay, what happens when you study and qualify young? Well, people love it. People love it. Okay, people just love it. People love to see young youth active people out there, right? You have enough, you have enough gas, you have enough gas in you to continue your career to the next level here. You have enough gas in you to do whatever you want in your life, to work, to get settled in life, to migrate, to do anything like this. You have enough opportunities to do if you basically qualify, if you qualify quite young. Now the difference what A levels covers and the difference what on you get pre-medicine is this. So my main focus is actually these particular subjects of what we see. So I'm going to put an arrow here. We will be covering this main stuff. These other areas will be covered as an exceptional area during our external skills class, which is done by Dr. Burhan, right? There you will be getting your extra knowledge with regarding to with regarding to this. I can see some questions coming out. We will get back to the questions probably at the end. Someone has asked about the fee of this exam. I think at the end we will have a Q&A with Mr. Amila Kulatunga. There is an exciting 70 to 80% off with regarding to the pre-medicine program. If you join within this particular month, there is a 70 to 80% off, and I'm excited to actually talk about that. Okay, so before we finish this, other stuff here, which is basically advanced level and pre-medicine. As I said, you advanced level is something overall, and pre-medicine is something focused. Can you do pre-medicine and probably get into something else? It's all opportunity to focus a detailed study related to medicine according to what A level will teach you. So if chemistry is quite big, how much of chemistry should a doctor know? They will go only talking about that particular section. So you basically get to kind of like in what would you want to study, right? So how long is this course? It's about 3 to 6 months. There is a way how you can enter and exit on this program. You will have to speak to your counselors about that. Does it save time in studying? Obviously it saves time in studying. Is this a shortcut to be a doctor without A levels? No, not really. It's a parallel program, and Harvard to Yale to Cambridge to Oxford, everyone have such pre-medicine options, right? Is this just another alternative to A levels? No, we teach you a comprehensive study when it comes into this particular program. Now, just to give you some sort of insights, what students would do when they go to United States, the most lucrative thing which everyone looks into. I will leave the rest of the points to Mr. Allen, but the most lucrative things, let's say United States, is, people ask, why should I go to United States and what's my bargain there? What's my buy-in there? How much do I earn? So you can just do a simple research and see, and you will understand that a doctor will earn 249 lakhs a year. That's in Sri Lankan rupees in LKR. Now, if you divide that by 12, imagine guys, your January salary is 20 lakhs, February salary is 20 lakhs, March salary is 20 lakhs, you would know how on earth you have 60 lakhs in 3 months, right? Just think about it. Coming back to Australia, coming back to England, it's about 17 lakhs a month, and you can see the pound rate is given here. Coming to Europe, it's about 15 lakhs a month, and finally, I would say Australia, it's coming to 19 lakhs a month. So that's basically one thing which I wanted to share with my students. Second thing is, probably go to the next one, I would just want you to look into some of the reasons why probably studying in Australia is kind of one of the most lucrative option around the corner. Okay, so one is that, according to the United Nations, Australia is the second best country in the world to live, according to it. According to another index, it's the second happiest country to live in the world. So what do you mean happiest country? It means the quality of life is quite high, right? The quality of life is basically quite high compared to other places. What about, things like the economy? Australia has quite an active economy. Visa approval process of the qualified migration programs takes on average 18 months, and most of them have a high success rate. Australian education level is one of the world's recognized education system. Okay, since its founding, Australia has been a nation of immigrations, as where many people are looking to migrate to Australia. So you have awesome opportunities there. Australia is considered one of the safest country on the planet. The Australian climate is quite tolerable compared to many other countries. Australia has one of the lowest population density, so you have enough jobs actually to work with. And finally, it has a very positive lifestyle here. So this is basically what my bargain is there, and my time is up. It's 11. I cordially invite Mr. Alan Roberts. I invite you, Mr. Alan, to unmute yourself. He's basically the MD of the Alan Roberts International Medical Graduate Support and Advisory Services. What we are going to learn from him is, okay, certain aspects of how you would get a career sought out in Australia. Like the careers in Australia, about folks, that if you are looking at a career option in Australia, the magic here is that you don't need to actually study initially in Australia, right? You can still move to Australia, but the magic here is you don't need to get your initial education in Australia. So, Mr. Alan Roberts, over to you.
Hello, thanks very much, Indico. So I'm Alan Roberts, and I've been working running overseas bridging courses for overseas doctors for about 30 years. And I teach also at University of Melbourne in the Faculty of Medicine, Dentistry and Health Sciences to 5th and 6th year medical students. My training is psychology, not medicine, but the work I do with the local medical students is on the wards or doing lectures to the main cohort of students, dealing with things like dealing with the sick patient, dealing with the aggressive patient, dealing with the patient who won't talk, and dealing with the patient who talks too much, all of that sort of stuff. But I've been involved with overseas doctors for a lot longer. So I've been running these bridging courses, and I want to tell you what the pathway is. And there's a doctor that's going to come on who's a Sri Lankan doctor that's been through our program. She'll come on and talk to you, and she's actually finished all her exams. She's Sri Lankan, but she did her basic degree in China. Then she came to Australia from there. And then she's passed through the exam process, and now she's working at a major teaching hospital here in Australia. So she's coming on to give you a little bit of an indication what her journey was like. So I'm only going to be talking about once you've finished your study as a doctor, you can come into Australia after you've finished your medical degree without an internship, but I would highly recommend that you finish your internship. It's a lot harder to get a position as an intern here rather than trying to get a position as a resident in a hospital with an internship. I mean, it can be done, but it is a lot harder because intern places are very competitive here as well. So the process that you need to do, the first thing you need to do is a verification through one go to. I would say some of the students that come in, they might have come in via marrying an Australian, or they'll come in, most of the ones that will come into the courses and sit the exam will be on a tourist visa. So they'll come in on a tourist visa, and while they're here, they'll decide that they're going to be studying, and this is quite legal, then you can study and prepare for the exams while you're here on a tourist visa. So what they'll do, the first thing that they need to do, and they can do that from any country that they're residing in, they need a verification. So they need to do an EPIC verification where it's quite a simple process. You go to the AMC website, you look up the EPIC verification, and then you send your documentation, and it usually takes anything from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, and then they just verify your qualifications. Once it's verified, you're given an AMC number. Actually, immediately you're given an AMC number, Australian Medical Council number, which means that you can go ahead and do the AMC examinations. The verifications need to be completed, but you can do the exam without it being completed, but they won't release your results. That's only if there's a problem, but it's pretty much straightforward. And you get your verification, then you can decide that you need to sit the multiple choice examination, which is a written examination. So once you pass that written examination, you need to also pass an English test, which would be occupational English test, a PTE test, IELTS, or TOEFL. They accept all of those now. Usually they last for 2 or 3 years once you pass that. Once you've passed your MCQ exam and your English exam, then you are eligible for registration in Australia. Many hospitals will ask for a clinical exam too, but I know there are many, many doctors I know that get jobs with just MCQ and English. So once you've passed those first 2 exams, you're then eligible to apply for jobs here in Australia. And there are every state in Australia has 2 hospitals that are what are considered workplace assessment hospitals. So those hospitals are hospitals where you can apply to get a job with just your MCQ and your English. Once you start that job there, then you go on to what they call a workplace assessment program. So that is, instead of doing a clinical exam, it's an assessment by your colleagues. So it's a properly structured program, and it can take anything up to 6 months, from 6 months to 12 months to complete. But once you've finished that program, you don't need to pass a clinical exam. It's the equivalent of passing a clinical exam. So that's quite an attractive program for a lot of overseas doctors, because they get their MCQ exam first, then they have their English, then they'll apply for one of those hospitals, get that job, they start working immediately, and they're on a salary. And while they're working, they're being assessed at what their competency is like. If they get a positive, and most people do, a positive assessment, then you're considered to have passed your clinical exam, and then you're like, after 12 months of working, you get full registration. Then you're like any other medical student here in Australia. You can decide what you want to do then, whether you want to go to a specialisation pathway or whether you want to go to general practice pathway. But it's up to you, whichever direction you want to go to. The other thing to do is to then, if you decide, okay, I don't want to do that, I want to pass my clinical exam too. So then you can prepare for your clinical exam, in that it's a OSCE-based examination where you have 16 stations and 4 rest stations, and then you need to pass, out of that 16, you need to pass 12, although it's changed recently. You do 14 stations and then you need to pass 10. Okay, so once you've passed those 10 and you've been given a pass, then that means you can try and find a job in either Australian hospital here, and many hospitals now also insist that you've got that clinical, but many also insist that they don't insist that you need to have it. So you apply for the job, and once you apply for the job and you get the job, you'll usually go through an interview process. You'll need to have sorted out a good CV, and you'll need to have some referees here from Australia. So that'll bring you on to what I do. I do bridging courses. So if you decide to, you need some sort of preparation for the MCQ exam. When you look at the statistics around the MCQ exam, when people sit the exam, about 50% of people pass. If you do a bridging course like that we organise, it's a 6 weeks bridging program, 6 days a week, from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock, 6 days a week. The pass rate of doctors who have done that bridging course is about 95%. So it really enhances your possibility of passing, okay? And then, but not only it enhances your possibility of passing, it also enhances you getting a job here in Australia as well. Because first of all, you need to have an updated CV. So if you, for example, I would say that if you've done your medical training overseas and you've done your internship, difficult to get a job. So by doing the bridging course, by the end of it, you'll understand what the Australian healthcare system is like. If some of the tutors, and most of my tutors, nearly all of my tutors, for particularly the MCQ program, are all overseas doctors that have been through the same process that you people that are sitting that course are going through at that stage. So they can impart all of the experiences, all of the knowledge that they've got about what's the best way to deal with this examination. What are the things you need to concentrate on? What sort of things do you don't need to worry about? Plus you do a number of trial exams during these bridging courses as well. So it's good preparation. And then if you've got a tutor that's teaching you that's impressed with you, it's a chance for you to ask them to be a referee for you. So I would say when you're looking for a job here in Australia, you would need to have one referee from your country or where you've studied from, and then ideally you would need 3 referees here from Australia. And you can get those referees from when you're doing a bridging course, or if you know, say maybe a Sri Lankan doctor that's already working here that might know you, might know your family, they can be a referee for you. But if you haven't got these referees, that someone that the hospital can ring up and just have a chat about you, then it's very hard to get that first opening as a job. And for example, if I'm a referee for you, they might say to me, ring up and they'll say, what was Hansini like in the course? Has she got good English? Did she get on well with others? Did she cause any problems? Is she a hard worker? All of those, did she come on time? You say, yes, she was very good. Thanks very much. We'll sort the medical stuff out in the interview. They often just want to know what sort of person you are. And that's enough to take you to the next stage, to the interview. Once you get to the interview, then it's up to you how you perform and how you convince them whether they're going to employ you or not. I don't know, is Dr. Hansini there yet? Hansini, are you there? No? Okay. So the clinical course, usually it's, we've got 8-week clinical courses. They're bridging courses as well, and a 10-week bridging course. And they're intensive as well. They're all about preparing you in medicine, surgery, pediatrics, obs and gynae, physical examination, and medico-legal issues here in Australia. And that will be their first, what will happen, the doctor that's running the tutorial for the bridging course will give you a lecture on a particular topic. And then at the end of that topic, then they'll do some role plays with the different people that are in the group. And that will be, they will be the those who are role play, and they usually take 8 minutes. After that 8 minutes, and then after that